Da-da-da-da-da.
Welcome one, welcome all to DeFi, crypto, and airdrops. I almost said roundtable talk. That's the other show. Hey, how's it going? Oh, we got nasty and nasty stepmom in here already. So
We got back to back.
This is about to get spicy. All right. So yeah, welcome to the show. We actually got some really good alpha for you. We're going to start out with just a little bit of basic news, just our crypto quick hits after we do our social shout outs. We'll do a little bit of DeFi. I'm going to share just some tips and tricks on how to set your levels, your ranges on pools and things like that. And then we'll get into a little bit of airdrop alpha and a really cool new project called MAVRYK. So without further ado, Jeff, how's it going, brother?
Good, man. Been setting up the apartment today. Got to work from home. So
nice.
And I had somebody working on my patio. There was a crack in the pavement, so they had to come fix it. And good thing I was home because the guy kept tripping the breaker like every 5 minutes. So. But yeah, been a very productive day. Very productive day. How about you?
Oh, I've been pretty much just watching all the the morning crypto shows. Had my tea, got a really good kettlebell workout, and ran to town my 2 week trip to civilization to get my supplies, and actually got a bunch of stuff because I'm going to make a sweet pork barbacoa. Like I don't know if you ever heard of Cafe Rio.
Mm-mm.
I'm just going to do meal prep and just make a bunch of sweet pork barbacoa that I can make salads with and burritos with and stuff like that to eat all week. So anyway,
shit.
that was my day.
That sounds great, man. That sounds
and
great.
I bought Arrow. I bought $400 more of Arrow.
Hey, these are good times to buy, man. And
dude, yeah.
Speaking of the markets, you can check out all the latest from us on socials. So on X or Twitter, you can catch me at the BCR142. I also have my channel, The Blockchain Report, on YouTube. And you can follow Vet at Veteran4Crypto on X. And he has his roundtable talk on Sunday nights. You want to check that out. And we also have our channel. You what?
Oh, I was just going to say on Roundtable Talk, we just smoke cigars, drink whiskey and talk shit. So
more relaxed and laid back and a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then we got our own separate channel now, DeFi Crypto Airdrops on YouTube. And we're going to be having a lot of content coming down on this channel. So, and we stream on X and YouTube whenever we do go live. Monday and Saturday nights, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you're feeling those Saturday blues of not as much crypto content, feel free to join us. It's a lot of fun. I know there's a lot of spaces. You can see right here, there's a lot of spaces on X. And if you're looking for some stuff, especially with the markets, stocks and crypto, there's a lot of good spaces where they're talking about tariffs and you get a good viewpoint from all different angles. So there's people in there going.
Well, and there's people like Gary Cardone and some serious people that are in those spaces.
billionaires in these
Yeah. No,
spaces.
I mean they know what they're talking about. They're not like, like me. They're not like some dude, sitting in a cabin out in the woods that knows a little bit about a lot of stuff. They're like subject matter experts.
Yeah, yeah. And shout out to the chat, Sack Nasty, Stepmom, Black Ice. Who else is in here? I don't. We're streaming in different places, so I don't see all the
Oh,
comments.
we
Craigie
got
Bra.
Meek 23777, Craigie Bra. We got
Hmm?
yeah, I mean we actually got quite a few people
Nice.
in here.
Hell
Appreciate
yeah.
y'all.
Welcome,
All
welcome.
right. So yeah, I'm just gonna jump right into it. We'll just do our crypto quick hits. Let me
Get your screen up.
all right, I appreciate it. So I want to just hit a couple of hot spots, just because I mean, one, obviously I love DeFi. It's kind of my jam, but I want to touch on a couple of projects because the way that the markets have been, I'm seeing a lot of people that are feel beat down. They're uncertain on what the markets are going to do. Should I get out, wait for the market to drop, and get back in? Is this the bottom? We keep everyone keeps saying that they feel like it's the bottom. I've even said it. Again, I'm not an expert. I just go off the information that I have. Think of crypto influencers as weathermen. We look at the data, we look at the information that we have on hand, and we make educated guesses. None of us are perfect. We're not going to get it right all the time. Do not treat anything we say as gospel, and it's definitely not financial advice. But without further ado, Morpho Labs is one that is very quiet. You don't hear a lot of people talk about it, and it's playing a huge part in DeFi. Coinbase is using it for its Bitcoin loans. So basically, you can go on the Coinbase platform, and you can take out loans on your Bitcoin. You can also go directly to Morpho, and there's a lot of different assets that you can take out loans against. You can lend as well and earn. And there's some DeFi plays that we'll be talking about in the future, to where you can do what's called a lend borrow flywheel, to where basically it allows you to leverage your liquidity, and kind of multiply what you have available to earn yield, or to invest or do whatever. So Morpho is a really good one, and today, like everything else, it took a hit, but it's bouncing back nicely. In fact, let me go pull it up real quick, and we'll just kind of go over some of the prices before we get too carried away. All right. So, Aerodrome, it looks like it built a little bit here in the past hour. It looks like it's kind of leveled out a little bit. DAG. DAG is another one I'm very bullish on. Obviously, it's in my portfolio here, but Morpho. Morpho up 10% today. Like I said, had a nice little bounce, relative to everything else. Still a lot of red in the market. You got Avalanche, 5%. Plume, I freaking love Plume. I cannot talk about Plume enough. It is just under 16 cents. And that bad boy, I have three liquidity positions open on it. But this bad boy, you just look at
I got
all.
sucked back up on the daily.
Yeah, look at that. I mean, it came down, and it tested, this previous support level. You can see it, right across here.
Oh, I don't think you have it pulled up. You have the other
Oh,
screen.
sorry. Yeah, I appreciate that. So you can see it dip down, but it
Mm-hmm.
just hit this previous level of support and just came back up. And now, right now, it's testing this resistance, what used to be resistance, and turned into support.
Oh
But it's
yeah.
just ranging from like 12 cents to about 20 cents. And that's a beautiful, and I'll get into this here, in the DeFi section, of how to pick, your range when you're doing these liquidity positions to,
Mm-hmm.
maximize the amount of time that you stay, earning, within range to earn. So I just wanted to point that out. Plume is by far right now my best earner. So moving right along.
Yeah, and the longer it goes sideways, the more time you have to accumulate or dollar cost average. Even when it has these big dumps, you can put a little more into it if you have it available.
Absolutely. No, it's and the great thing about Uniswap, like I love Aerodrome because I love stacking Arrow, but every liquidity pool pays out in Arrow, whereas Uniswap, like if you have a Plume USDC pair, it's paying you out in Plume and USDC. So you're kind of locking in some of that profit by earning USDC, but you're also stacking your bag of Plume because that's the one that I'm in. But you can do that with any token, and you're earning both the tokens that are in that liquidity pair. So anyway, Seamless Vaults, Seamless, another really good project. Not something I'm personally in, but they just passed 75 million in total value locked on Morpho Labs in their Seamless Vaults. A lot of liquidity locked up on that platform, and again, not a lot of people talking about it. DeFi Mullet, your preferred stack on the front, on chain in the back. Got Morpho Labs on Base, powers 100 million in Bitcoin-backed USDC loans. That's what I was just talking about. Coinbase, offering that service. Flight School. Those of you that don't know, Aerodrome has a bonus program called Flight School. If you go on the Aerodrome finance platform and you lock your Aerodrome, it has to be 2,500 Aero or more. You lock it. You will get a matching lock. So if you locked it for 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, whatever, you'll get a matching lock as far as the time, and you'll get about 35% of whatever you lock. So if you locked 10,000, you'll get about 3,500. But if you do what this post is showing, if you're a Coinbase One member, it leverages up that bonus. So you'll get more than the 35%.
Do those stack? Did you find out?
I've been looking and I cannot find if they stack or not.
Okay.
But the better, if one of you out there in the chat, if you happen to know, I would definitely like to know, because I plan on doing another lock here soon. I actually just bought $400 worth of Arrow today to add to a small bag because I want to do another lock. So I don't want to get too political, but I feel it's important with what's going on and how it's affecting the markets right now.
I'd like to call the attention of our colleagues to this chart on the status quo that the business community is asking each and every one of us to endorse today. Right now, we have a $34 billion trade deficit with China, the 1995 figure. It will be over $40 billion.
So we don't need to listen to the whole thing. I wanted to point out that there's a lot of people that are hurting right now in the markets, both TradFi, and in the crypto markets across the board. And there's a huge propaganda push to, make what Trump is doing with these tariffs into a bad thing. And yes, it is affecting the markets. This is something that should have been done when this video was taken back in 1996. These tariffs should have been balanced back then. They didn't. And just like our debt and everything else that our government's doing, they've been kicking the can down the road and they haven't addressed this issue. And now we're going to have to swallow a bitter pill to fix this. We can go through pain, a smaller amount of pain now, or we can wait, and it's going to be a lot more painful down the road, and it's going to be to where it's not consensual. It's like we're going to go, it's like right now we can have consensual, or later on we can have non-consensual. So
you're going to be looking like the Middle East, man, as far as no.
So I'm not I don't really watch Fox News, but they're just talking about the same thing. The China tariffs. A lot of countries, the UK, France, Canada, Mexico, all of them are coming to the table to negotiate and to balance out the tariffs. Some have even said we'll get rid of all of our tariffs. Let's just get this party started again. China is really the only one that's trying to play hardball. Here's another one. I won't play it. I don't want to waste everybody's time, but Chuck Schumer, same thing, 2005, passionately arguing that we need to deal with the uneven trade tariffs or trade with China. So this isn't a Republican thing. This isn't a Trump thing. This is what's best for America.
Mm-hmm.
This one here, I'm sure that you've all seen the protests, the hands-off protests, and supposedly there's tens of thousands of people. This guy's basically pointing out, you can look and you can see the cars in the background. They're perfectly matched up. It's basically all they did is they just took this small group and they just multiplied it and they took out the signs on the way back. It's propaganda. Taiwan offers zero tariffs and more investment in the U.S. It's working. Like I said,
talking about Miller of the Trump administration talking about tariffs. Now, I know that sounds very exciting to most people.
Sure.
But when you hear Stephen Miller talk, then you're like, I can listen to this guy all day. Here's cut number one, Stephen Miller on Trump's tariffs. Check this out.
Can someone explain to me? We protect and defend South Korea. And in exchange, they steal our automobile industry, they steal our electronics industry. We protect and defend Japan, and in exchange, they close their market to our cars. We protect and defend Canada, and they run up a massive trade deficit with us. We protect and defend all of Europe at a cost of trillions of dollars over time, and what do? They run an over $300 billion trade deficit with the United States. Why should America protect the world, send foreign aid to the world, defend the world, provide for the world, and in exchange, get ripped off by every other country in the world? And what do they have to show for it? The deindustrialization of the heartland, the destruction of the American dream, the eradication of our industrial and manufacturing base that we need for our national.
So, yeah, basically, he's laying it out. We flipped a bill for everything for NATO. Whenever there's a humanitarian crisis, the U.S. is the one that's there and flipping the bill. I was stationed in South Korea. We defend South Korea, Japan, a lot of other countries, and all of them have tariffs against us. It's basically a way to where they're siphoning off, our wealth into their countries, and it goes to their governments. It doesn't go to their people. It goes to their governments. So,
at some point, it's got to stop.
It does. It does. And I'm sorry, Jeff. Do you have something to say on that topic before we move past the politics?
Oh, no, it's, like I said, I was in spaces a lot today, just listening, and last night, just listening to different viewpoints. And it's just super complex, and like your brother and Jeff were saying last night, there's just all these different angles and things that, is he trying to do this with the market? Is he trying to negotiate? Yeah. Is it all these things? So we don't know, but we know that he's trying to fix a broken system. That's one thing we do know. And whether or not it takes, crashing the market intentionally or unintentionally or whatever the case may be, and I found it interesting when we brought up the transfer from the stock market into crypto. I think it's going to be, like you said, it was balanced, but I think you're going to start seeing more and more shift from traditional finance into like capital liquidity into crypto, especially with the RWAs.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you're going to be talking about MAVRYK and, RWAs here in a bit, because it really is, there's a lot of value that is going to be moved from the stock market, because would you rather own an old style stock that you have to go through a broker and that you can only trade, during bankers hours, no holidays, no weekends, 9 to 5, whenever the stock market's open? Or would you rather buy that same asset that's on, that's tokenized, to where you can buy, sell, trade 24/7, 365, holidays, weekends, whatever? It's going to happen. Everything is going to be tokenized. Treasuries, stocks, bonds, real estate, you name it. it just makes sense. So,
Well, and you're right now limited to, if you want to trade stocks, you're limited to 3 day trades per week if you don't have over $25,000. So that means you can buy and sell the same day only 3 times in a week, but you can buy tonight and then sell tomorrow, and that doesn't count as a day trade. But you see how they limit you from actually trying to trade, and they say it's to protect the investor, but you can essentially do that on the crypto markets. You can trade most exchanges, dexes, you can trade them all pretty much if you have a VPN, but you're not limited to the same restrictions in the stock market. So yeah.
absolutely. So yeah, this one here, I just thought it was cool. I guess they must have,
The
found,
wolves.
got some DNA of a dire wolf from like some old bones or something like that. But they brought back the dire wolf. I don't know if you ever watched Game of Thrones and stuff, that massive freaking wolf that went extinct like 10,000 years ago.
Jesus.
No, dude, like I hope they don't let those things loose, man. I would hate to run into one of those. I mean, they're like freaking chest high.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Dire wolf.
So it looks like this one here, Coinbase wallet, here's a business and they accept USDC. That's adoption. That's crypto adoption. It's happening. It's, don't look at these red markets and get fudded out. These are the times where you need to knuckle up, nut up, reach down and grab a set and find out ways that responsibly. I'm not saying mortgage your house or sell your wife's jewelry or anything like that, but do things like DeFi. Find ways that you can earn. Stake. If you don't want to risk your bags, stake it. There's a lot of ways that you can earn and just get free crypto. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Everything is building right now like never before. If you look at everything other than price, everything is bullish right now. Capital efficiency on Aerodrome in the last 24 hours, they've captured almost $1 in volume for every $1 in total value locked. That is insane, because what that's saying is that there's almost equal volume to their TVL. Volume is how you earn. So, anytime you're in a liquidity position, you're always wanting, that's why I'm always talking about that you want to have at least 250K in TVL so that you can get in and out without, with minimal slippage, but also that you want equal or greater than volume to the TVL, because the volume is the people that are doing the swaps. And that's how you're earning your fees. So I thought that was interesting. Of course, I can talk about Plume all day. I won't, but this one here is just talking about RWEs and tokenization market and how it's growing. And basically what they're saying here is that it's skyrocketing right now. And I'll show you some charts here in a second. But it's talking about a $1.6 trillion RWA market in the next 5 years. And I'll save this stuff for you. It's just the MAVRYK network. But real quick, before I get into the DeFi deep dive, this is RWA.xyz. Great place for analytics. Again, we showed it the other day on Saturday. It's done nothing but climb. The stable coins, they're climbing. We got Plume. Oh, sorry. I wasn't sharing.
There you go.
So, I mean, this is what happens before bullish movement in the market is you get the stable coins being minted because they need to have, a 1-for-1 for every dollar that comes in. There needs to be, 1 USDT, 1 USDC, whatever to match it, or it can't come into the market. You can't onboard fiat, liquidity onto the, into the crypto verse without stable coins. That's the vehicle that allows for that movement of value. So it's the fact that they're just printing these stable coins like this. They know something's coming. They know there's a bunch of value that's going to be coming on chain. So just something I wanted to share. And
track the flow.
Absolutely. So real quick, before I kick it over to Jeff, I'll do a bit of a DeFi, not a deep dive, but just a little bit of a how-to here. So this is obviously Plume, and I'm on the hourly. Personally, hourly is good for longer. The longer time frame that you use, the better. So say I went to a 4 hour. Let's do that real quick. So 4 hours still looks really good. You can obviously see, support and resistance levels here. So this is how I pick my ranges. You can see I have my ranges here. I have this one like up here in Never Land in case we start to take off. But I set one range. It's a tighter range, and I'll even show you my pools. So this one here that has 1,266. That is this blue range. So it's a little bit of a tighter range. So I earn more, but I'm out of range right now. So I'm not earning anything. But when it's in range, I'm going to earn more than this other one that I have set here that's much wider. So what I did to find these ranges is you can see, way back here, it came up, it rejected, came back down, busted through, came down and tested, bounced, came back down, went below. But you can see, all along here that it was resistance, just all along there. When it was ranging in this lower range, it was basically bouncing off that. So what happened is it switched to support. And so you can kind of see why I picked these two. Again, this is the 4 hour. So, this is a much longer time frame. But I set this one here and I set this one here because that's pretty much where it was ranging. I like really wide ranges. You, of course, can set a much narrower range and you'll earn a lot better. But you're going to have to rebalance. And if you're on Uniswap and it's on ETH mainnet, that can get really expensive. The earnings, depending on how much you have in there, it could eat up the yield that you've earned quite quickly, especially if gas fees get high. So I just like to set these nice wide ranges. In fact, a lot of my positions are like this one, full range. It's basically from 0 to infinity. No matter what the price does, this one's earning. It's not earning anything right now just because there's no volume. Again, you need volume to earn. Before we went live, it was at like 200 and something %. So do with that as you will. But live on Saturday, I opened up a position. This top one here with this $815, and I set a range, and it is this gold one. So I set a nice wide range, and it went out of range still, because it came back down here to these levels, but it's back in range. So you can see that's why you want to look for these support and resistance levels when setting the ranges. And personally, I like to go a little wider. It's like when I open these positions, I could have done it, right here and right here and been earning, maybe 800% or something like that. But you're only earning when you're in range. So it does no good to earn 800% for a couple of hours or a couple of days. And then you have days or weeks that you're out of range, not earning anything. I would rather set these wider ranges. And yeah, I'm only making only 100, 200, 300%, but I'm earning it consistently 24/7, 365, as long as it's in range with the AMM, that full range position that I'm in. That one is just steady earning. I got multiple arrow full range positions. I have a full range plume position, and I have a couple of other full range positions. I'm not going to get rich overnight on those, but each one of them is making me 10, 20 bucks a day, and I'm just banking that. And it's in arrow, it's in plume, it's in USDC, and I'm just stacking those bags. It's slow and steady wins the race. And when the market takes off, then those full range positions, the arrow and the plume that I have in those positions, I get the price appreciation. And the yield that I've earned, it also gets that price, not the USDC, but in this case, the plume gets that price appreciation. The, of course, the position itself, I don't get the full price appreciation. The yield that I've earned, I do, because it's keeping an equal amount in this case of USDC and plume. So it's going to DCA me if plume is pumping. It's going to be selling off plume in little bits into USDC to keep an equal amount, which I'm okay with, because the whole time, over these weeks that I've been doing this, I've earned a couple of hundred plume, just sitting there waiting for price appreciation. So what do we got here? MJ.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
Switch between assets as well if you want.
Yeah, I have a Coinbase card and use USDC all the time. Actually, let me
yeah. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I got.
Have you checked into that at all? The Coinbase card?
I actually put in for it, and I thought it wasn't live yet in the U.S. I think it was only in foreign market, or like in foreign countries.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I put in for it.
Oh, AF said, when you say 100% return, is that annual?
Yes, that's APR. So yeah, anytime I talk about percentages, it's always APR. So yes, that's annual. But it's the APRs do fluctuate. So and there's a lot of different variables, and I we have some other episodes that we've done and explained a lot of that stuff. Please feel free to look through our old channel, and the some of them are on the new channel. But we'll be doing a lot more. A lot of these shows we're going to be reiterating things over and over. So please like and share the the channel, and we'll keep giving you this these little tips and tricks and stuff like that to try to pull back the curtain on the this kind of the scary DeFi that everyone hears about, and they hear that you can earn and stuff, but then they hear these things like impermanent loss and divergence loss, and a lot of these scary terms that are kind of nebulous. What does that mean? Like, what is it? And there's not a lot of people teaching DeFi. There's us, there's Crypto Labs Research, and DeFi Dojo are really the only serious ones that I've seen. And so that's kind of why we're trying to help people learn about this, is to break down some of those barriers, and maybe allow all of you out there to dip a toe in. Maybe it's $100 or a couple $100, and you just put it in a full range position, or maybe you just lend, on a legit platform like Aave. It's the largest lending platform. Uniswap, the largest liquidity platform. Something like Aerodrome that's backed by Coinbase. All good places to put liquidity if you're going to play in DeFi. But lending, like staking and lending, is, other than the platform going down, it's no risk. If the platform goes down, of course, there's that risk. But you can lend your bags out, your Bitcoin, your, USDC, ETH, whatever. You can lend them out and earn yield off of it to where it's not just sitting, doing nothing for you. I'm not saying take your whole portfolio and run out and, stick it all in DeFi. I mean, I have like maybe 25, 30% of my portfolio. And I'll be honest, I got into this in November and, made a bunch of money. Like the first month, I made like $5,000 off of 10 grand. Made huge returns. I made 50% in 1 month. But then the markets tanked and I made less and less and less. But because of how much I earned, it mitigated my losses. So my overall portfolio, I went from like over $100,000 down to where I'm like at about, like about 40 or 50 now. And that's because of the earnings from DeFi. It would have been a lot worse. If I wasn't doing DeFi, I might be panicking right now just because of how low my portfolio would be. So yeah, DeFi has saved my bacon personally, as far as my portfolio. And it's just doing nothing but stacking, getting ready for the big pump that eventually will come. So with that, I'll kick it over to you, brother.
Yeah, stack that free crypto, essentially.
That reminds me. I'm glad you guys said something about DAG. I'm gonna, if you're not doing it and you're bullish on DAG or have DAG, get a Stargazer wallet, put your DAG in it, and make sure you're claiming your PACA daily, because Swap is PACA Swap is about to do an airdrop. And if you have your DAG and you have PACA in your Stargazer wallet, you're going to get that airdrop.
Dude, I can't wait till that launches because I want to dive into PACA Swap and see what they got.
I want to DeFi my DAG.
DeFi that DAG.
DeFi that DAG.
PACA. Oh yeah. So the one thing before I get into the RWA top project today, the one that we brought up last week or a week and a half ago, Mantra, that they had their airdrop. Yeah, they just announced today they're launching this Mantra, this MEF, 108.88 blah 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 million investment initiative designed to propel real world asset innovation.
You're not sharing.
Oh, I thought I was.
No, I'm still seeing the.
Oh, does yours need to?
There we go. Now I can see yours.
Oh, I think I had to hide yours.
It's all good. It's all good. Drive on.
So yeah, Mantra is launching their MEF, this Mantra Economic Fund, I guess. This 108 million investment for real world asset innovation. Where's my clown face? I need my nose.
Well, I never play with those sound effects, so I thought I'd give them a little.
I forget
something.
they're there.
I know.
Oh,
here we go. Stan, is a Plume Network live?
Not yet.
No, but I mean, but you can stack it and you can earn it, and they are daily. They announce multiple partnerships. At least one, if not 2 or 3 a day. Follow them on X. They're always dropping alpha.
Yeah, and if you want to buy it, you either have to get it on the exchange or on the ETH mainnet. So it might cost you a little more.
I actually got I bought some on, you can get it on Uniswap, of course, but on the Coinbase wallet, not on Coinbase itself, but the Coinbase wallet.
Oh, shoot. Okay. No fees?
No, it's, you have to pay the minimal fees for
Coinbase.
Yeah. Can you speak to the advantage of LPs versus lending staking? Does on average LPs return higher? Yes. So real quick, I'll answer this so we can close out the DeFi portion. So liquidity pools, they definitely earn more than lending and staking, because usually AMMs are going to earn you more than lending and staking for the most part. There's exceptions, and they're going to be full range. The downside is you don't get full price appreciation. So like in my Plume full range, when Plume pumps, I'm not, my Plume isn't going to, or that dollar amount that I have in that pool isn't going to go up as much as if I had an equal amount. Like if I had $1,000 in a liquidity pool and $1,000 in Plume, the $1,000 in Plume by itself is going to appreciate more, but it's not earning anything. So that's what they talk about with impermanent loss. All impermanent loss is the difference between if you just hodled the asset and what you earn in DeFi. So what you earn from price appreciation plus whatever yield you earned on top of it. I personally do not care about impermanent loss. I'm going to get some price appreciation and I'm going to earn, and that's going to get price appreciation as well. I am in DeFi to earn residual income for dry powder, to invest in new projects and to plus up my bags. And eventually, when I get enough, I'm going to use that to augment my lifestyle, to take trips and buy muscle cars or whatever the hell I want to do. So that's the advantages of LPs over lending and staking, is you earn more, but you take on more risk. Whereas lending and staking, the only risk is if the project goes to zero, or if wherever you're staking or lending it goes under. It basically goes out like what was that one that went under? Celsius.
Celsius, yeah.
Yeah, Celsius went under.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, it's just some people got part of their money back. A bunch of people are still waiting.
That's when they paused all staking and lending on like Coinbase, and everyone was scared.
Exactly. So that's pretty much it. And Stan, yes, my Plume that I have on Uniswap, I can withdraw it at any time. It's totally liquid. I've never had any issues getting my liquidity on or off Uniswap. I can't say the same for Coinbase.
Yeah.
The actual centralized exchange. They tend to get real glitchy whenever the markets get really
volatile. It just so happens I get we're an outage
exactly.
right now.
But they have no problem with you buying. They just don't want you selling or moving anything. So anyway, enough of that. So
that's the crypto circuit breaker right there. The traditional finance crypto circuit breaker.
Yes. So yeah, staking is about the only thing that you potentially could have an issue with getting your liquidity out, because different protocols like Casper, I have to wait. I think it's like 16 hours. If I undelegate, I have to wait 16 hours before that's liquid to where I can do anything with it. So, and different protocols are different. You just have to
up to 3 weeks, or I've seen a month.
A month.
Yeah.
On Coinbase, I've staked some stuff, and I've had to wait 28 days or more to get that liquid.
Hell no.
All right. Sorry, I just wanted to answer some questions.
Oh no, you're good. Yeah, and just to touch on this real quick, because it did just come out today, which is funny because we're on the topic of RWAs and them launching this real world asset innovation adoption and growth fund is really good to see. And you got a bunch of these VCs and capital based companies or investment firms leading this too. So this is just one project, and you got Plume building, and we're about to go into MAVRYK Network that is building their RWA ecosystem. And I know,
give me the alpha, man.
I know Mike's gonna like this a lot more.
Some of this.
Yeah, because it doesn't look hokey. it doesn't look hokey like Plume did when I first got into it.
I almost didn't get
Cartoony
Plume.
and
I'm glad you mentioned that. The cartoon, the cartoon birds, and
yeah.
the first time I looked at it when you told me about it, I was like, it looks too memey to me. It just I couldn't take it serious. But then I actually like looked at it and did my research and saw that no, this is a legit project. But yeah, I wish more projects looked like this. Serious projects look like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll give you a little rundown of what kind of Grok laid out. So they're a layer 1 blockchain, similar to Plume, building out their RWA, decentralized finance network, using real estate, commodities, bonds, or even infrastructure like Bitcoin miners. And at its core, basically simplifying the tokenization process, allowing users to own fractional shares of physical assets and interact with them through DeFi applications. So they have their own wallet, the MAVRYK wallet, and they've raised over $5 million as of February. So they have their testnet going on right now. I actually just dropped a video today. There is an issue getting testnet tokens right now, as that it's called a faucet. So anytime you hear the word like token faucet or crypto faucet, it's basically getting the fake tokens to test the network with. So their testnet token faucet is down right now, and I just checked their Discord, and they said that they'd be back up in a few days. But you can actually interact with a few things on here, and I'll kind of show you a little breakdown of their wallet. And Mike, if you want to actually go through this and set it up, because this wallet is, it'd be brand new. You don't have to load any funds on it. And you could kind of go through and let me know your experience with setting this up.
Actually, I'm glad you said that, because is this for the airdrop?
It contributes towards the airdrop. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So walk me through it. Where do I go?
So I just sent you the testnet website on X. Are you
sending me malicious links?
I'm saying
trying to steal my crypto.
All I need you to do is download this keylogger and type in.
Download this piece of software real quick.
Hold on, can I see your seed phrase real quick?
Yeah. I'll put it in the chat. All right.
Yeah.
So then hit join testnet.
Yeah, go in there and you should scroll down.
There we go.
MAVRYK wallet. MAVRYK wallet. Yeah, and this is a Chrome-based app like Coinbase Wallet. And
you can. I'm on Brave. You can add it to Brave too.
Yeah. Brave browser. I don't know if it works for Firefox, but I can't pull this up because I don't have the actual. Let me see if. Entire screen. Here we go. Okay. So now you can see the actual wallet right here.
All right. So I need to. All right. All you out there, don't look at my seed phrase.
Oh no, you can't see your screen. You're good.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
I'm just playing.
Hey, even testnet wallets, there's some that I've just screenshot and saved because I didn't really care about the wallet, but there's some that, you want to just write down on a piece of paper. And everyone that if you are kind of fading, the testnet stuff, it's a great way to get experience interacting with applications and how to make these swaps, how to connect a wallet, how to set up a wallet. And like we'll dive into, they have their Maven Finance, which is their lending and borrowing, the DeFi platform, and this Equities, which is accessing fractional shares of compliant real estate. Um,
All right, my wallet's set up.
all right, you got your wallet. You got your wallet. Now, we can't do the token faucet. You can't get your testnet tokens yet, but once it's back up online, I think they're doing some maintenance on it. You'll be able to go through that. And I'll make another short video and post it on X when that goes live again, just to kind of give everyone a fresh update. But
Yeah, no, I would definitely love to see that, because I mean, any RWA plays, if if I can do some airdrop stuff, I need to start doing that more.
mhm.
I definitely want to earn some of this token, because I'm still kind of pissed that I missed out. That we weren't doing the show when you were doing the plume, because I would have
Oh
loved to have
yeah,
earned free plume. Did you ever
yeah.
get your plume off of the exchange?
I haven't moved it yet. I should have done it this weekend when gas was really low, because the Ethereum gas fees were super cheap. So yeah, this is the MAVRYK Explorer. Well, it's called Nexus. This is their access network, governance, treasury functions, domain services like your domain name, and blockchain data. And right now, they only have the Explorer page available, so you can check blockchain data on the MAVRYK network. But they will have a treasury, governance, and DApp store tabs up here where you can access that information as well. Let's see, activity. Yeah, over here, just different metrics on the blockchain. And I have seen some networks that have their governance and stuff separate from this blockchain explorer. And I think it's good to have everything in one place like this. Because if you're doing on chain voting and governance, I think it's good to have it with all the blockchain data, like treasury and stuff. Just kind
That's
of,
one thing I really like about Casper. They got Casper.live, and it's kind of their hub, for all of their offerings.
oh, nice. Yeah, it just makes everything really easy and seamless, and you're not going to 50 different websites.
Hmm.
And especially if it's a phishing site, because I have seen some scammers posting these fake governance links to different projects, and it can it can be a little scary, man. One little thing you don't know what to look for, and so it's good that seeing this development on the blockchain is really really good to see. So Maven Finance, we'll jump into Maven Finance, the DeFi,
That, that's where I'm at right now.
yeah, DeFi bank for the people. So Maven is a DAO operated financial ecosystem that lets users borrow and earn on their terms while participating in the governance on the platform. If you guys want to go into the tokenomics and light paper, you can do that. And you can still connect. You can still connect your wallet even though you don't have any tokens. And see. Oh, and
They have just over 500,000 earning, but there's only $86 are being borrowed. Because I mean, it's not fully live yet, so
yeah.
not a
And
whole lot of
I
earning
don't know
going on.
how long the testnet has been live, because I've seen people talking about it for a few months, but I haven't really jumped into it until now. Because there's just so much. There's so much that even I'm like, God damn, slow down. So here's a little overview. You got the Maven.
Is this team doxed?
I actually don't know. Um,
I'll look if you want to just keep
Crypto
going.
rank.
I don't want to get you on a.
No, it's good. Crypto rank actually has um oh, team. Okay, Alex Davis, Sam Morrow. So they're on X. So it looks like, yeah, cryptorank.io. This, they have the funding, the team. So yeah, Alex Davis, former chief innovation officer at Tezos.
Okay. All right.
Okay. And then Sam Morrow, co-founder, chief of staff, Maverick Dynamics, software engineer, and chief nerd. Okay. So yeah, they're okay. And it looks like a year ago, last February, Maverick launched or was announced. So that's good to know. And yeah, some guys who are pretty established. So that's definitely good. No, I'm glad you brought that up because that's another important thing. You want a team that's doxed, and because there've been quite a few
and
projects
you definitely
where
want to know
they
that
kind
they've
of
been a part of successful projects in the past and things like that. Because if they haven't, you're going to have issues. Because just because they've been in crypto for a long time doesn't mean that they're legit. I mean, they can they can be working on a bunch of rug pulls and memes and
be grifters.
Stuff like that. But you definitely want to invest in projects that, and this is part of my due diligence that I do, into the fundamentals of a project. Is a big part of that is the people that are behind it. If they're legit people that have built some really, in this case, Tezos, that's something I'll take a serious look at.
Yeah. It's you want to make sure that who is building and what their track record is, and it just makes you feel a little more safe, or you'll be able to sleep a little easier knowing that you invest in a project that has legit builders.
No, absolutely.
Because also, even if they are doxed, they could be like nefarious, like SafeMoon.
No. It's like, that one project, it was like the second project that I got into back in the day was Time Wonderland, and that guy was a total tool. But MJ, the Stargazer Paca thing. Just check my Stargazer wallet, and I have Paca, so it's safe. Yes. No, it's absolutely safe. Just if you want the airdrop that's coming for swap, SWAP, which is the token for Paca Swap, which is the X or decentralized exchange that is going to be launching on the Constellation network here soon. Then you just need to have that Stargazer wallet, have some DAG in there, and daily go in there and claim the Paca token. And having those two, I don't know how much you'll get. It depends on how much of DAG and how much Paca you have, but you'll get part of that airdrop. So it's just free, free tokens if you're interested.
Free Paca. Free Paca.
Yes. A free swap.
Oh, free swap. That's right. Well, and Paca. You get the Paca.
Well, I think the Paca goes away.
It transfers. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do like how kind of clean this is. Even though it's kind of cartoonish, I like that it's easy to read. It doesn't look like your traditional finance, dashboards and stuff. You want something that's a little bit easier on the eyes, but more professional than Plume. But man, they're doing their thing.
I hope they rebrand.
Yeah.
And Black Eye said, I know that you had to take off, but if you watch this later, not a problem, man. Happy to help you with with your DeFi and stuff.
Oh yeah, and good luck on mowing the yard. Hopefully no critters out there. So yeah.
So what else? What else you got for us on Maverick?
They got their earn and borrow, which I wish I could I wish I had some testnet tokens right now, but yeah, this is the earn borrow dashboard. You can supply MAVRYK or MVRK or USDT. And I'll just kind of show you how to supply an asset. So when you click on that, you can earn yield by depositing assets into Maven's lending pools. The loans are secured by 200% collateral. Supplied MVRK is automatically delegated to Maven Finance DAO validators. So here you can deposit, earn APY, and give you a little breakdown. And then you'll see your transaction history and stuff. And also doing the same with USDT whenever we get the testnet tokens available. But you see, it's pretty easy to navigate. You can create your borrow vaults right here. So create a vault and start borrowing. You can choose only one asset to be borrowed per vault. And in your vault, you may deposit a basket of assets together as collateral. So you can only borrow one asset, but you can deposit multiple assets together as collateral when borrowing. And I don't know if that's I haven't really seen that too many times in DeFi projects where you can deposit like a basket into one and then borrow. You can deposit a bunch of assets, but not into just one specific, right?
What's that? Sorry, I'm combing through to see if there's any hot news.
Okay, no, too many I haven't seen too many DeFi or lending and borrowing platforms that allow you to create a vault to borrow an asset, but using multiple assets as collateral in that
That's pretty normal on lending and borrowing platforms like Morpho. Remember, there's like basket of assets. So basically, you can have when they create those vaults, it's like say it's a stable coin vault. There'll be like USDC, USDT, USDE. Just all these different stables. But yeah, you can build whatever, and that's basically the the liquidity that people can start borrowing. And it kind of backs it backs that vault.
Okay.
And then of course, more people, you can, add to it as well. So like if you add a single asset, like say you borrow, USDC, then it will spread it across all of those assets once you put it in the vault.
Okay.
And that'd be a good topic for an episode, but that's in my reading so far. That's the way that I understand it. Is it spread equally across all the assets to mitigate, like say one of those stable coins or something like that, DPEGs or something like that. It doesn't disrupt the whole vault.
Yeah, it's good to have that.
Or if it's
diversity.
Volatile assets.
Yeah,
or
if it's super.
Yeah,
fart coin.
Maybe if it was a meme vault and you had a bunch of memes in there, then it's like it would be even more important that you maybe even throw in some stables or maybe throw in some Bitcoin or something like that to help stabilize that vault.
Yeah. Here's your earn page. This will give you other data points. Earn, borrow. And these are the different, there's only two different markets right now. So MAVRYK token and USDT. And since it is a test net, I think it's fairly new because I haven't seen a lot about this, but they have these vaults right here. And I don't think you can deposit. I think these are.
I hopefully nobody is on these platforms, but DexGear and BitCob, never heard of them, are involved in fraud. Withdrawals have been blocked, funds frozen, act immediately. So if
Oh,
anybody out there has anything on those platforms, like I said, I've never heard of them, but you might want to see what you can do to get your assets off of there.
do we have a? Huh? No, I haven't heard of those.
Yeah, I doubt anybody here is on them. It looks like they're like Russian dexes or something like that.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, these vaults, I don't think we can access. I think it's people's vaults that they created. Yeah, these show like how much debt they have, collateral amount,
Yeah,
staking.
let me fact check this.
So you can stake your MVN tokens, and I think you get MVN by depositing in the vault. So when you deposit or create a vault, you'll get these MVN tokens, and you can stake them here. So it's kind of like a step-by-step process. Or I'm sorry, the staking. Yeah.
Somebody got creative on they're trying to say,
Oh, what's up,
oh
Deadwood?
no, dude, check this out. You mind if I steal the
Oh,
real
go for
quick?
it. Oh. Oops. Oh. Are we running?
Hold on. There
The
we
market's
go.
pumping?
I hope so. No, this is something that I just ran across on X. Is they added this section, DeFi bankless future, to the U.S. debt clock, and you have the USA federal interest savings per year, savings per adult, USA total interest savings per year, and savings per adult. So they actually have a DeFi freaking section on here now.
Oh. Well, shit.
Just wanted to share that real quick.
That's a nice little tidbit. Oh, yeah. Hey, and come on, if you're not bullish on DeFi, holy shit.
Oh yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
DeFi and RWAs by far is what I'm the most bullish on. It's there's just too much that's going to be happening. Sorry, that's all I had.
No, you're good. Wait, okay. Yeah, so they have a staking page where you can stake your MVN tokens as well. They have these satellites, which are basically delegating your voting power, not giving away your tokens, but in order to vote on rewards and stuff like that, you want to stake your tokens and then delegate them to one of these satellites. So I don't remember if they have this flywheel as well. Because everyone's got their own like flywheel mechanism now, and even some that are more complex than the aerodrome. So it's really wild to see
No,
these
it's,
projects
you know,
building it
and there's
out.
something to
And
be said for that. You know, learning the functionality and how, you know, the different DeFi platforms work is
mm-hmm.
you know, it's kind of why I just kind of have a couple that I trust and use. You know, I mean, as far as you know, ETH and some multi-chain stuff, Uniswap and Aave by far the most trusted, the most used, you know, the best managed in my opinion. You know, not that there isn't others that are managed well, but you know, those are your safest DeFi plays. Then you got Aerodrome and Morpho, you know, with their backing, you know, with most of the volume is on ETH, which is Aave and Uniswap, and on Base.
Oh, did he drop?
You know,
Oh,
Sonic at times, you know, with Shadow and Silo, you know, they've had some volume pumps and stuff like that, but you know, it's been pretty short lived. So you know, until I see some, more stable volumes on
mhm.
other, chains, I'm pretty much just going to stick with Base and ETH. You know, it's where you know I'm making the most money.
Stick to your bread and butter, man.
Hell yeah!
Don't change it if it's not broken.
Oh, we got some comments. What do we got here?
Oh
Deadwood,
yeah,
what up, brother? We got Seth in here. Let's see.
everyone eating dinner. Nice. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, that's why I turned my camera off. I had to go start the oven and get mine going.
Get your beat.
Yeah, I'm just
Ooh.
doing some panko chicken.
Oh, nice.
Uniswap, I'll be honest, Nasty, I do not own any Uniswap. There was some really juicy yield being earned on a Uniswap pair earlier today that I was posting on Blockchain Basement in the chat. You know, I started just posting random, you know, liquidity pools and earning in the chat.
Yeah, sharing a lot of good stuff in those chats.
Try to.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm a really to finish this Maven finance out. They got yield farms. They don't have any live yet. They got a governance page, but that's not live yet. And I said their treasury, but you know this is all testnet. So, and you can submit feedback for any experiences that you may have. And the last project under this MAVRYK network is this equities. The last little thing I'll touch on because this is the meat of it, man. The RWAs, build your portfolio with every asset on the block. So the future of asset ownership is digital. You start with just $50 to invest in fractionalized, fully compliant, income-producing assets worldwide. So not just
Nice.
tailored to the US or Europe. This is worldwide.
Have we done any research on the, you know, like the people behind this or anything like that?
Not yet. Not on
All right,
equities.
so
So
make sure you all do your own research. All right,
yeah,
we're bringing you the alpha on, you know, potential ways that you can earn and stuff like that. But you know, anything that you hear on X or on YouTube or anything like that, don't take anything that we say or anybody else says at face value. You know, do your own research. You know, if you're investing your money, you know, you're the one responsible. So
mm-hmm.
um, yeah, make sure that you look into these things. You know, who's behind them, and if you want, I can probably post a little checklist. But you know, you want to check out the team. You know, you want to check
Mm-hmm.
out, you know, investors if they have you know, VCs or, you know, any heavy hitters that are backing them. You know, that's going to lend credibility. You know, big money isn't going to put their money into something that's going to lose. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and also if it's on the actual project's website and not just like a something on because if I saw something like, this on X, I'd be a little more cautious, like interacting with it. But, when it comes straight from the actual project's website, I feel a little bit better. But yeah, always double check and make sure that it is legit.
Jizz.
Jeez.
A jizz.
So this I haven't really interacted with too much because, this one's down for maintenance right now as well. But it looks like they have a marketplace. They have a stake tab, which I'm not too sure about, like what the staking is. But they have their documents page here. They don't really have a whole lot. But essentially bringing the real estate digital. So that's really all we can do right now. And once, like I said, once this goes live again, I'll have a video ready to go. But yeah, this just made me feel like, okay, if Plume could make moves with the way that they present themselves, kind of hokey,
Yeah.
like this, kind of looking at this was like, okay, this looks a little more professional and put together and just polished. But yeah, RWAs, man, it's going to be important. And I wanted to ask you this, now that we have multiple RWA projects building their own blockchains, when is there going to be too many, like the layer twos?
No, and that's why you need to do your research. You really need to look into who who these different projects are partnering with and things like that. Because if nobody's, they could have the best technology in the world, but if nobody's nobody's using it, nobody's building on it, nobody's tokenizing, in this case, tokenizing assets on it, it's worthless. It's it's like a road that no one drives on, a toll road that nobody drives on.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fees being generated. There's no, movement of value. There's, there's nothing. So, you need to make sure that you're checking that stuff out. Let's see. What do we got? Seth.
Yeah.
I have never used DeFi, only staking from self-custodial wallets, which is very easy. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to dump, 10,000 in, Seth. Just, start out with $100 or a couple $100. Go on Aerodrome or, that's probably your best bet. And just, put a little bit of Aero in a full range AMM. It's, you don't have to worry about ranges. It will always earn, you're not going to get rich, but you can get a feel for, how it all works, how you put liquidity on the platform and, how the earnings work and, how you claim it and, just start getting a feel of the whole thing. Or, obviously, Aave, you can lend and things like that. But, brother, you just got to dip a toe in. Because, I mean, to be honest, with crypto, I see DeFi and, RWAs as the future. It's going to be a huge part of the market share, and I'm going to take full advantage of it. I want to make sure that I have, by the end of this bull run, if it ever happens, I want to have at least a couple $100,000 and use half of it to DeFi and earn a couple of grand a month, an extra $3 or $4 a month that I can use to supplement my income. It's, I mean, and, you can't, there's no other way you can do that. In traditional banking, you might be able to get like 5%, in a, yield on a treasury note or something like that. But, you're not in full
You have $1 million.
Yeah. It's just, but yeah, and if you have any questions, by all means, reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you out. But it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Fucking Seth said
Oh,
he made 4,000 on Arrow last year.
hell yeah.
Fucking good on you, man. Just I'm guessing in price appreciation, huh?
I'm working through my taxes right now, man, and I'm having some issues with my crypto taxes because there's some networks that aren't integrated with the coin ledger. So
Oh, yeah.
I have to get the CSV file and do all that shit, and it's a pain, man. So
Oh man. Seth Shepard is a freaking blasphemer. Says that he doesn't own any Arrow right now. Man.
man, this is the best time to buy it.
No, actually, you're not wrong.
Oh
Nasty.
shit.
I don't like doing price projections. It's not
Oh
my
yeah.
wheelhouse. I don't want to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. I mean, I can look at the all time highs, and if we reach all time highs, and I can do all that speculation. But honestly, you can do that yourself. I don't want to give anybody hopium or
Mm-hmm.
do moon math or anything like that. I mean, it's cool to do, but I mean, Arrow has gotten to like $2.20, $2.30. If it gets back up to there from these levels, I mean, I mean, you're looking at almost a 10x. I mean, we're at what, like 30 something cents. Say it gets to $3. You're looking at a 10x. Just getting a little bit above to where we've already gotten. This bull run. So I just I mean, I'm obviously bullish on Arrow, and they're breaking records. Their Bitcoin and ETH liquidity pools are outpacing Uniswap.
Damn. That's
Yeah,
great.
no, it's insane. So yeah, no, I'll actually show you real quick if you want to. I'll
Oh
look
yeah,
it up.
you can hand it over.
No, go ahead. I mean, if you want to put out some more alpha while I look that up real quick.
I mean, some other things you can really do is participate in sharing. Oh, one important thing that I learned from
Oh shit, I'm sorry, you weren't done.
real quick, Initia, when we were talking about it this weekend. So I got more tokens. I'm getting more tokens in the airdrop from talking about Initia on social media versus participating in the testnet. And I've seen a lot of people with the same thing. They got way more tokens from talking about it on X and being in the Discord. And I wasn't even really in their Discord like that, but I was talking about it on Twitter here and there, and not even a whole lot. So, talking about these projects and sharing the projects and stuff, you could qualify for airdrops just by, yapping about this shit. So don't feel like, oh, I see this post and I'm just going to like it or whatever. No, retweet it, quote, all that stuff, interact. And you don't even have to interact with the network, on the blockchain. You could get an airdrop just from fucking yapping on social media. So it could be that easy. So, don't, just remember that. So yeah, all you, Mike.
All right. So let's see. There you go. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like this right here. Since Uniswap V4 launched 2 months ago, Aerodrome has only grown in dominance, generating 2x the volume of Uniswap and 5x of others on base. So you got, Aerodrome has 35.7 billion in DEX volume, whereas Uniswap on base is only 16 billion. And then all the others, of course. But then down here, you got, during that span, Aerodrome also managed to capture 84% of Bitcoin volumes and 76% of ETH volumes, compared to just 16% and 24% from the competition. And let's actually go to Aerodrome itself. Let's see if we scroll down a little bit. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. So number one, Aerodrome, not just on base, but across all DeFi, number one ETH and BTC pools across all chains. Over 24 hours, Aerodrome had the top volume in both ETH and Bitcoin pools across all of DeFi. So that's not just on base chain. This is on ETH and Bitcoin. You can see that, I mean, it doesn't have the exact numbers, but you can see that, I mean, it far outpaced. Because, I mean, you have to understand, on base with Coinbase wrapped Bitcoin, it opens up so many avenues and barriers to entry. So by leveraging Coinbase, it allows Aerodrome, Morpho, and a lot of these other protocols to use Coinbase as a portal or an entry point for the people out there that don't know how to use DeFi to have access to DeFi. So you can go on Coinbase, you can buy Bitcoin, and you can take out loans on Morpho from Coinbase. You don't have to use a hot wallet and move your Bitcoin over to it and connect it to Morpho. And you don't have to do all those things. And that is the future of DeFi and crypto, is breaking down these barriers to entry so that, like normies, just people that have regular 9-to-5 jobs that don't sit in front of the computer all day and learn about crypto because they're a dork like I am. Those are the projects that are going to grow, that come up with those ways to onboard people. And so that's why I am so bullish on things like Aerodrome and Morpho and these projects that are on base, because they are working directly with Coinbase to integrate into their offerings, to where, again, somebody can take $5 or $5 million, put it on Coinbase, and they can buy Bitcoin, take out a loan against it. They can do all these different things. They can stake. They can hold USDC and earn. It's a one-stop shop. So anyway, that's all I got, brother.
Yeah, and I mean, also, if you can do everything in one wallet, that limits the amount you transfer, like the fees and stuff. You don't have to transfer it to this place or that DEX. And with Bitcoin, it can be expensive. If you really want to utilize, you talk about Ethereum being expensive sometimes. Bitcoin's right there, with network fees. And it takes a lot longer too. So, it's just, if you can do things, and we're going to be exploring more Bitcoin DeFi projects here in the future too. So we'll be able to really understand how to use our Bitcoin in the bear market, when we can't really do anything. So taking advantage of that.
I'll be teaching some DeFi, like ways to short the market using DeFi and things like that, like you're talking about.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great, man.
So should we just go out with we'll shout out the chat, answer some of these questions, and then we'll just wrap it up? All right.
Yeah.
So MJ says, I set my ranges too tight on soul memes. Didn't really know what I was doing. Had a Brett ETH one as well. I have some Arrow. I'm going to try it out. That's awesome. MJ, I'd love to hear it. I would suggest, if you don't have a lot of experience with setting ranges, just use a full range AMM. It's not going to earn as much, but it's going to be safe for you. And if you're doing it on Aerodrome, it's about as safe as you're going to get. So yeah, that's awesome. Good to hear. I think Base is trying to go after BNB and take the market. I think they're doing a great job, honestly. And I think with a lot of the regulation that's going on, Coinbase is a lot more legit. I mean, I could be wrong, but Coinbase, they did an ICO or an IPO. They're on the stock exchange, whereas Binance isn't. Binance has come under a lot of scrutiny from legal entities and things like that. They are by far the biggest, but it's kind of like ETH. I've been saying for a couple of years now, that I feel like ETH is going to start losing market share just because of, it's being cannibalized, by things like, layer twos like Base and, other projects like that, Matic, Pole. Now it's Pole.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially with Ethereum, it's not going to be the powerhouse or the investment that people thought it was going to be. Like Ethereum to 10,000. No, just because one, it's expensive, but two, you got all these other L2s that have better use case and utility for everyday users. Ethereum has great use case and utility for institutions and the banks and stuff that can play on that level or that can pay those fees to move that billions of dollars. But everyday people like us, we need the layer twos and those kind of blockchains. But BNB, like Deadwood said, it was a great place to make money last bull run. And I know that a lot of people, even Crypto Lifer was saying that he was utilizing certain DeFi pools in the last bull run and printing like hundreds of dollars a day. So, you just got to make sure that the network and ecosystem that you're in has a lot of volume, has a lot of TVL. That's why like Base right now is hot. Aerodrome. You want to stick with these projects or Morpho that are doing good, that are not just a flash in the pan. I like, Pancake Swap. It's legitimate, but I don't know. I like these other plays, even if there is the same amount of earnings per, protocol.
I like the ones that are working with, the ones that are going to, the ones that influence legislators. If BlackRock and those, I know, it's DeFi is supposed to be decentralized finance, and crypto is supposed to be decentralized to where it's the people and fuck the government and all that. Honestly, I think that time has passed. Unfortunately, it's they're the ones that are going to decide how this is all implemented and integrated, and you can make money and get rich with them, or you can try to buck the system and stay poor. I'm gonna get rich. It's once I have money and I can fight the system a lot better. Because what's your opinion on Stan asked any opinion on decentralized science or DeSci?
I am very interested in that as it gets developed out. I know that Hoskinson has talked about doing some pharmaceutical company. He's like building out a pharmaceutical company to do like ethical work. So, and decentralized science is going to be great for researchers and publications, because a lot of these researchers are gatekept. Yeah, you don't have the limitations to say, oh, you can't study this, so we're not going to fund you because it interferes with our bottom line. So
yeah,
it's going to be great to see. So
that's what I love about it, is just the aspect that it's basically crowdsourced science. So like you said, there's a really interesting guy that talks about, I forget, he's on Joe Rogan a lot, but he talks about the Younger Dryas, which was about 13,000 years ago. And basically he's been talking about pre-flood civilizations, because all around the world there's these different there's flood myths in societies around, ancient societies around the world. And so he's like, there has to be a thread of truth to it if all around the world they all have this same story. And so he started talking about it was towards the end of the last ice age, and that's when they found a Glatobioteki, and basically churned archaeology on its ear, because they thought that far back that everyone was just hunter gatherers, that they weren't, building monolithic structures and stuff like that. And this guy's been talking about this stuff for decades, and everybody just laughed at him, and he couldn't get funding like you were talking about. And so, long story or short story long, you can with DeFi, you can have, a controversial science that you want to study or research, and basically you can crowdsource it like a GoFundMe, to where it people are like, what, that's cool. I'd love to donate a couple $100 to that, or a couple $1,000 to that. And you can get funding that way. So no, I honestly, DeFi, I think is going to be a really cool thing. I obviously, it's not going to be as big as RWAs or DeFi, but definitely some good plays there.
Yeah, we're shouting out Seth Shepard's been in Coinbase since 2017, and he converted half a Bitcoin, went all in on Litecoin, and then left crypto for a year and a half. Yeah, 2017, it was 2018. I kind of took, a few years step back after that big crash from 20K down to what, 3 or something. But yeah, man, I wish I had the Bitcoin that I bought back in 2015. I think I bought like 0.1 Bitcoin that was for $40, and now that would have been worth 11K.
Yeah,
or 0.14, something like that. But yeah, it was a different time.
it doesn't look like there's any breaking news in crypto right now. I just figured before we hung it up, I'd
Nothing spicy.
check and see. Nothing too crazy. So, well, I appreciate all of you out there that tuned in with us. The people watching on X, if you want to join the chat at any time, go ahead and follow us on YouTube, and feel free to jump in the chat, and make sure you follow us on X, and we'll have another episode for you on Saturday. Might start doing a Spaces from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Jeff will chat about that. But Seth Shepard, appreciate you. Deadwood, appreciate you, brother. MJ,
Yes.
appreciate the questions. Love that the back and forth. Uncle Tommy, man, you slipped in here. I didn't see you.
Uncle Tommy.
Yeah, that's a new face.
The Nasties. The
Nasties. The Nasties are regulars.
Yeah. Black Ice AF.
Yeah, appreciate Black Ice. But yeah, so appreciate y'all, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Until then, Betcha Crypto out.
Later.